Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our talk show. I'm Joana May Joaquin, your host for today. I came upon this inspiring event to answer all the questions that our teacher given. With the help of our guest, we will discussing about the categories with special needs. Let's have a round of applause to our guest, Miss Angeline Arucan, Miss Nadine Asirot, Miss Maebelle and Lopez, Miss Rosemarie Mariano, and Miss Rochel Castro. Welcome to the talk show. Now, I have some questions to ask. Let's call on Miss Angeline Arucan for the first question. This is your question, ma'am. How might the question of nature versus nurture be misspelled?
Thanks for that wonderful question, Miss Joanna. The words nature and nurture themselves can be misleading. Today, genetics and environment are frequently used in their place with one's environment, including a broader range of experience than just the nurturing received from parents or caregivers. Further, nature and nature or genetics and environment do not simply compete to influence a person but often interact with each other. Finally, individual differences do not entirely come down to a person's genetic code or developmental environment to some extent. They emerge due to messiness in the process of development as well. The nature and nurture debate has evolved over time to consider the approach that nature and nurture do not compete but instead work together to shape behavior.
Thank you for the wonderful answer, Miss Angeline. For Miss Nadine Asirot, here is the second question. How do the additive effect of adverse childhood experience impact the developing brain?
Thank you, Miss Joanna, for that question. Kids whose brains have been changed by their adverse childhood experiences are more likely to become adults who find themselves overreacting to even minor stressors. Children have an abundance of neurons and synaptic connections. Their brains are hard work trying to make sense of the world around them. If a person in a constant state of fear or stress, their brain may adapt to survive within this environment. This may lead to impaired development of areas of the brain involved in logical thinking and memory.
Thank you, Miss Nadine, for the great answer. Here is the third question. Please proceed, Miss Maebelle and Lopez. Here is your question. How it is possible for our genetics to influence our environment and our environment to genetic influence?
Good day. Thank you, Ms. Joaquin, for your question. So, science tells us that the interactions between genes and environment shape human development, despite the misconception that genes are set in stone. Research shows that early experiences can determine how genes are turned on and off, and even whether some are expressed at all. The healthy development of all organs, including the brain, depends on how much and when certain genes are activated to do certain tasks. The experiences that children have early in life, therefore, play a crucial role in the development of brain architecture, ensuring that children have appropriate investment in their ability to become healthy, productive members of society. The environment influences how a person thinks and feels, which in turn influences their behavior, which impacts the environment. A person's physical and social environment influences the intensity and frequency of a behavior, just as the behavior itself can have an impact on the environment. Also, our environment influences our genetics by our feelings in our environment. Positive experiences, such as exposure to rich learning opportunities, and negative influences, such as malnutrition or environment toxins, can change the chemistry that encodes genes in brain cells, a change that can be temporary or permanent.
Nice answer, Miss Maebelle. Here is the fourth question. May I call on Miss Rosemarie Peralta? Your question is, do you believe if the parents are smart, their offspring will be smart too? Why?
Thank you so much for that wonderful question, Miss Joanna. And I believe that all parents affect their children whether in a positive way or a negative way. So the question is, do you believe if the parents are smart, their offspring will be smart too? So I would have to say I think they do for the most part. At a young age, kids construct all the knowledge that is put in the front of them and a parent that is smart up. So just in that circumstance, the kid will grasp their parents' knowledge. And also, parents who are smarter always can help their kids to study, which is another big advantage to having a smarter child. So, yes, highly intelligent parents are like to have intelligent children.
Thank you, Miss Rosemarie, for our last question. Miss Rochel Castro, this is your question. Why is the disability categories matter when planning reading interventions?
Thank you, Miss Joanna, for the question. Students identified with any of the 13 disabilities may exhibit reading difficulties, but their instructional needs could be quite different. Educators sometimes refer to groups of students using broad strokes such as English learner or those in special education. Although we should take care not to reduce any child to a single attribute. Using classification groups is not simply about assigning levels. Students have a certain characteristic and attune a teacher to their learning needs so that proper instruction is planned.
Thank you, Miss Arucan, Miss Nadine Asirot, Miss Maebelle and Lopez, Miss Rosemarie Peralta, and Miss Rochel Castro. We have learned a lot from you today.